Good morning, one and all. We, Mytosci Pro, heartily welcomes you to today's Write Shop on Research Paper Writing in Index Journals. First session on indexes and journal writing will be handled by Dr. Roswine Joy, Associate Professor and Head SDG Center, SDG Research Center, Presidency University, Bangalore. So, ma'am, please, the session is yours right now.
Thank you so much, Samira. It's so nice to come back to both of you, Samira and Deepak. I always feel like coming back to home whenever I have a session with you guys.
Thank you.
Uh, okay, so as researchers, we all are. I'm sure all of you are researchers in one way or another way into the profile of can be quoted as researchers. So today and as researchers, it is important that we communicate our results to the wider audience or wider stakeholders of knowledge. And journal communication is one of such communications. And as we are moving more towards the digital ecosystem or, transformations are happening across the world, I could say that the scenario of higher education is also changing, and as well as the way we see research is also changing. However, journal publication is something which is going to stay for some more time, definitely. And in our career, it is very important for the we know the nitty-gritties of uh, understanding publication in a better way. So towards this is my presentation. So the reason why I get into the publication to this is my, I think, eighth or ninth presentation of journal publication. The reason because it's not because I'm an expert in publication. At least I have tried to understand where we can go wrong, because I also had a center, and we also convene conferences. And many times what happened is that some of the scholars or some of the researchers end up coming back and telling, ma'am, I end up publishing and it end up in a clone journal, I'm in a predatory journal, I'm not getting the credit. Second problem which they say is that I have a lot of data collected, I really don't know how to write a paper. Even in our higher academics, though we have a PhD program where we are taught on research methodology and also research ethics, technically there is no sessions which help us as researchers how to write a paper, unless your guide is good in writing papers and allow you to pitch in sometimes. Technically that knowledge is not transferred to the research scholars much, unless you have an inclination to understand it by yourself. So it's kind of study by yourself in general scenario, and these sessions are to help such researchers to start with understanding the journals and how to write a research paper. I really want to understand the crowd here. Just a small, quiz. Like, how many of you are research scholars? Can you please raise your hands, please? So I will know what level I should pitch the program. That is why. Can you please raise your hands? I hope all of you know how to raise your hands. Okay. Only two. Okay. Okay, Atul. Okay. So we have 4 or 5 people who are research scholars. Okay, so good. Now I'll move to my session. So you all, I think if you are not a research scholar, you are already working in some organization where you are already in your initial stage of uh, career, and you are working towards publishing papers. So this would be the two category of people who are here. Some of research scholars, others are early career researchers or early career academicians, I would say. And I'm also, you know, uh, somebody who is still working on in my research area. So I hope I will bring value to your time you are spending out here with me. Okay. So today, in this particular session, I will be focusing on how we can make one of the biggest problem challenges is that the papers are getting rejected. So how can I increase my acceptance rate from 30 percentage to 60 uh, percentage? So how can I improve it? This is one question which can bother many of us researchers. In this particular session, I will say that we all come under one category. Even the organizers, they are also researchers. I am also a researcher, and you all are researchers. So we all are in same plane, and all of our one aspect which we all look forward to is how can I improve my acceptance rate. So there are four things which you need to look into if you want to improve your acceptance rate in a journal is finding a right journal. Okay, that is first and foremost. Then preparation, what all are, how many of you write, I used to do it long back when I started my career. If the deadline to submit an article is uh, today, I'll start working on it uh, 1 week ahead. Okay, because the work is already finished, but writing it as a journal article, I have not done. Honestly speaking, that is little difficult to get such, if you are writing like that, getting accepted in a good journal is a tough task, unless you know what all things you have to follow. So the preparation for writing a paper is also very important in writing a journal article. Then structure of research article and art of writing research article. So these are the four things I will be addressing today. So this session, we are not focusing on review papers, short note, commentary, etc. These are also coming under the journal, research article category, but we are focusing on only a full article for this particular 1.5 hour session. Okay, but however, the cross-checking whether the journal is good, or it is applicable to every category, but this one is what we will be focusing only on full-length journal article. First thing you have to understand before you start writing a paper is what is the message you are going to convey in this particular paper. Write it down in a 2 or 3 sentences. That is your first thing, which you should start with. Okay, so what is the message I'm going to give is technically what is the knowledge I'm going to share to this bigger stakeholder group of knowledge seekers. What is that additional information I'm going to give? That is what you should think first while before writing a paper. Okay, so that is your first step. Now, okay, I know what I want to send as a message. Now, what kind of preparations I have to do while before I start writing your paper? Okay, uh, generally what happens is we all have some research work, we have so much data available with us, but we have not decided in this particular paper which I'm going to write what is the message I have to communicate. And based on that message, once you decide what is the message I'm going to give, you have to then look into, okay, review your notes, what all work you have done, renew your literature search, because you would have done it like 1 year back when you start. You might have done a research work for 2 years, and then you are sitting and writing your paper. So you need to also review the current updates which have come in that area before you write your papers. Okay, I will be discussing why so at a later stage as well. So that is your first step. then you have to look into who are your audience. Okay, is it researchers or undergrads, or who are they, whom you are trying to address? So generally at this juncture, most of you will be having the audience as researchers, okay, or academicians or policymakers, or some international organization who work on this area. So these will be in general your audience. Then identify the journal you wish to publish. So that is the next step which I am getting into. Okay, I will be showing, moving from the slide and showing that part a little bit more using hands-on. Then and also what is the credibility of that typical journal. Okay, here I will be discussing three kind of indexes: UGC Care, Scopus, and Web of Science, because that is what our higher academics authorities are looking for, even though we have many other indexes like ABDC in case of management, IEEE in science and aspects. So we I have not covered that here. I have gone very generic into the UGC Care, Scopus, and Web of Science, which are the most sought out indexing in academia in India. Then check out alerts from this journal, understand the journal criteria in terms of number of pages, page setup, structure, etc. Is it an open access, period for publication? These are some of the things. The open access is that it will be available for public immediately after it get published. Otherwise, there will be embryo period. Okay, so that is the difference between open access and non-open access. And period of publication, most of the journals give an information like that uh, whether after you communicate the journal, how much time it take for them to communicate back on their decision. Okay, so general percentage of period. So if it is a journal which takes long time, why should you waste your time on that journal unless that journal is too important for you in your career? Okay, so these are the things which you need to look into. So now we will move to and understand some of these indexes. So as you know, publication is also a business. Many of you think that it's a very we have a today education is also education, as well as higher education is moving to a different level in our in our country as well as outside. We are moving to outcome based, right? So it is again more a corporate kind. So if you ask um, you know Scopus is owned by Elsevier publisher. If you ask Web of Science, it is by Thomson Reuters. So it is UGC, of course, it's a government one. So every indexing are coming towards some publication house. So it's a business, but we uh, have to accept the fact that this is the norm which is followed in our higher academics. So we have to accept these norms and move forward for our career at this point of time. I don't know whether the policies will change or related to this. Uh, However, right now in the current situation, even though Elsevier or Thomson Reuters are all big corporates in publication business, their indexes are what is followed in academics to judge the quality of your publication. So we are also forced to fall in place with this arrangement. So whenever you look into, first thing is you find a journal and then see whether they are indexed, and then you have to go and check into the journal criteria. So that is what we are going to discuss now. Okay, so let me share other things. Okay, so whenever there are three things. So first I will start with the I think okay, 1 second. Okay, so let's start with Scopus, because Scopus is something which all of you are interested in, whether it is science or social science. So in Scopus, Scopus is technically done Scopus indexing. It's a index, okay, index which have a list of journals which give you the quality, give you some indication of the quality of the journal. So this is the website, actual authenticated website for Scopus. Okay, so I'm just copy pasting it to your reference. So if you see, I have logged in, you can register and log in. uh, Left hand side you can see something like where I'm, Scopus source list. This is the list of journals. If you download, you can get the list where a list of journals which are uh, indexed in Scopus. Can you see my Scopus page? Because I changed the, can you see it? Anybody, can you please voice out?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. So you go to the website I gave, and then you can register there, and you can see the Scopus source list. And also there is something called Scopus discontinued source list. See, Scopus source list will give you the currently what all journals are available. It also, discontinued source list will give you whether a particular journal is discontinued from Scopus. It has a quarterly system of removing the journals which are not which are on predatory in nature, or they have something called it is basically an AI, artificial intelligence, which actually work behind and find out is any of the journal which are indexed in their list is showing some irregular behaviors of indexing so many papers together and all those things. So they so call it as alert. These kind of journals will come under the Scopus discontinued list. Okay, what will come in Scopus source list is this currently what is there. So you can register and then go and download this. You don't have to depend on any third party people to find out whether this particular journal is good or not. Sometimes what happen is some person will call you and say, I will get you the paper published in a so and so journal, and you have to blindly believe them and go ahead and give some money and publish. So that is not the right way to do it. So first you have to cross check whether this journal is authenticated or not. So I'm trying to enlighten you guys how to find it. One is your Scopus discontinued source list, and this is the list, one of the list. So once you download, you get an Excel sheet like this. Okay, so you can cross check with the EISSN number and find out why it is discontinued, and from which year and from which volume issue, okay, which page range onwards this is last processed in Scopus. You will get up after this, it is discontinued. So why it is publication concern is basically because they are predatory in nature. That is the reason why it is discontinued. So this is how you will identify whether the journal is discontinued or not. Okay, so I hope that help you to find out after downloading it. I mean, I kept everything downloaded so that it's not we can best utilize our time available. Okay, so this is how you will find out. Now, how will we search whether a particular journal is there in Scopus or not? You have to go something called sources. Okay, if you go to sources, there are three options. There are few things which are here. You have like see, in Scopus there can be four types of uh, you know uh, uh, publications which can come. One is journal, book series, conference proceedings, trade publication. It's like a patent and all. Okay, these are the things which can come as in Scopus index. And then also this is first con, second con. This is based on the site score. I'll be discussing that in that is in the left hand side. This is the filters which you can use. Also display only open access. See, in case if you have your university is giving some money to publish, as a APC, publication charges, then you can see open access. Otherwise, mostly in foreign universities they give that, but in our system it is very less, except very few universities do that. So in case you're getting some funding from your university, you can also opt for open access and pay the APC and move ahead. So the sources, there are four things: subject area wise you can search, title wise you can search, publisher wise you can search, ISSN wise you can search. Each of these are used in different um, for different reasons. If somebody is telling you, okay, this is a particular publication which you can look into, they will give you the journal name and ISSN number, you can search on this. Okay. Second, uh, second is, if it is something like, if title is there or ISSN, you can. If subject area is another way, I don't know what and where to publish. My area of work is in, for example, ecology. Okay, and then I just said, okay, I want to know which all are the journals which are available in ecology. Then you can. Can you guys hear me? I don't know why. Can you all hear me?
Yes, madam.
Okay, so you can search like this. Okay, you can specify, and then you can search on which all are the in that area, which all are the journals which are in that area. I don't know why it is not getting selected. You can generally come. Today I found there is some problem with Scopus, that some links are not working. Maybe they are on, but generally you just have to click it and it automatically populate on what all are the all are the um, uh, journals which come under this particular category. So if you don't know anything about the journals, and documents from 18. So generally they have this 4-year criteria. Previous, if 2022 means previous 4 years is used to decide their site score and citation documents they will say. So these are the list, and so if I want to particularly look into a particular journal, I will search like this. Okay, so see, I said plant arches. Okay, so I just go to this plant arches. What kind of journal is this? This is what kind of publication is it? It's a journal. It's not a book or conference proceeding. It's a journal. It is clearly telling that this course's coverage area was 2011 to 2020, and further it is discontinued. You have the ESSN number and all, and site score is very low because of course it is discontinued. So this is how you will search and find out whether the journal is there or not, by if a particular title is given. Every time you don't have to go and download the list. Okay. So now next is, how will you see that whether this particular journal is predatory in nature? Because I don't want to get into trouble by showing a journal which is currently there and saying that this is predatory in nature. So I'm taking an example of a journal which is already discontinued. Okay. See, you have to go, site score is where this is a site score. How it is done is citation by the number of documents. Okay. So next is site score. How will you find out whether this particular journal is predatory in nature? This rank title, so this is 431. See, so 421 out of 431 in this subject area, that is the rank of this particular journal. Next is Scopus content coverage. If you really look into this particular document publication, you can see after up to initially 2011, 200, average, they are getting into 200 and 50. No, suddenly what happened in 2018? It has increased, but see 2019 and 20. This number of documents has increased drastically. That means they are going predatory in nature. So you don't have to, how will you find the particular journal is predatory is technically by getting into the Scopus content coverage, how much documents they are. It means like 2020, if they have uploaded 1667, naturally by end of 2020, this will be out. Okay, because the algorithm which the Scopus use will identify these kind of suddenly this jump has happened, then they will put it in the radar, and then they will check whether they are doing some mischief, and then they will discontinue this particular journal. So what happened many times is you try to publish in a Scopus Index journal, and what happens, by the time it get published, it will be out of the Scopus coverage. There's generally why it gets moved out of Scopus coverage is because mainly because of the publication concerns, and the publication concerns are rising from where? Because they are predatory in nature. So how will you identify they are already predatory in nature? Is like going into Scopus content coverage and checking whether they are uh, publishing in the last 2 years in higher number of journals, number of papers than their average. So that is how that particular algorithm work. Okay, so you can yourself see whether a particular journal is predatory or not. Okay, that is one thing which you can go handy before you decide whether you should go ahead with a particular journal or not. And also, if you are it's a good journal and you want to go ahead with the that particular journal, then most of the journal will be having this is very very site score. Also you can okay, so okay, this don't have, it is also a discontinued one. So mostly those with don't have site scores is a discontinued one. If you really go to, let's see the license. Okay. See, there is something called source homepage. You have to cross. Sometimes what is happening is the person who is communicating with you, see, it's a fact that there is you sending it to the journal and getting it published is the best way out. But many times what happen is, because of pressure, we end up going to some third party, and they will give you some this ISSN and EISSN will be same, but source homepage will be different. So always go to the Scopus journal, and from there go to the homepage, and then see whether it is the same website the person is giving. Otherwise, it is bakwas. Okay, so this is how you can I'm not motivating you guys to publish there, but this is how you can avoid getting into trouble. So that is why I'm discussing this part. Okay, it is I always suggest you to register in a particular journal and submit your articles. Okay, so we will get into that part now. Okay, so this is how you will identify whether the journal is good or not. Now this is another website which is handy. Okay, which is called the journal finder.lcv. This like this, every index has their own journal finder. I'm just explaining the Elsevier one. So this is called journal finder. I will just put this in chat so that it will be useful. Oh, I think I'm putting everything to my Scopus.com. This is Scopus.com website. For some of you, this all will be information will be, you might be having an idea about this if you are already an academicians, but researchers definitely, many of them don't know from my experience. So this is a journal finder. So I have a manuscript ready. Okay, example I'm giving, this is my manuscript which I'm working on now. What I will do is I will just put the heading, okay, or heading, paper abstract, keywords. You can't go, these two things you can copy paste, but this one you can't copy paste. You have to really uh, uh, you know write it down, okay, type it down, then only it will come. And your research area, find journals, okay. So this will give you a populating journals from under Elsevier, which actually will match your particular abstract. Okay, so these are some of the journals which you can look into and find out whether we can these are the journals which actually cater to your abstract. People are publishing similar kind of work in these kind of journals. So this is how you can find out. Then you can go to this particular uh, journal and you click it, it will go to their home page, and then you can look into it. Okay, now I want to look into one good journal. Okay, I found out, so I found a journal. Now my question is, what all things, and I went into the home page of that particular journal, assume. Okay, is there any doubts or clarification so far, or me lecturing like this? Are you guys stuck somewhere? Some questions are there, you want to pop up, you can pop up now. 1 minute. Hello, in chat also you can put.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Mm.
Ma'am, I'm just a beginner in the research field, and I
Mm.
wanted to know the significance of ISSN in ESSN number.
Is ISSN is there will be two. E is electronic, ISSN is hard copy. Okay, so some journals will only have ISSN, means they have only hard copy publication, not they will not be online. Electronic format will be not be there. That is the difference, but both are valid. Any other question? But I suggest you to go with journals with ESSN number. The reason, because when it leads to side score, right now you want to just publish if you are a early career researcher. But after some time, you will be having the problem of H index, this, that, and all will get into it. So that time, if it is in not in an electronic form, it getting citations are limited. The chances of that getting citations are limited. So if possible, try to choose a journal which is having an EISSN rather than only ISSN. Okay, that is, but generally all the journals will be having both. Very few will be having the without that. Maybe they are in the early stage. First, they will get ISSN. After that, only they will try for EISSN. So it takes some time. That's all. Some gestation period is there.
Ma'am, means the exposure to the citation score will be more from EISSN, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Because it is coming, people generally don't go and read hard copy papers these days, no. And also, how many people will buy that hard copy? Other way to do is you can scan and upload those things in your ResearchGate academy. There are some tools where you can, overcome that constraint. You can have an account in ResearchGate and scan it and upload it. That is possible, even if it is only ISSN. So it's not that, now that is a constraint. It do have a constraint, but one way to overcome it is this way. Clear? There are few. ResearchGate is there, academic, what is that? One more is there, academic. I forgot the name. So there are few like that, some websites where you can register and upload your publications for better improving your site scores, and also you can use that. You can try that out. Okay, can I move on, or any other doubts? Okay, I hope there is none. So this is one particular journal under Elsevier, Marine Policy. I took this journal because it is a journal which is interdisciplinary in nature. Means you will find scientists and social scientists working on this particular. So when you enter a particular you know a particular journal homepage, what all things you should check, that is what I'm going to discuss next. Okay, so of course, first thing is aim and scope. What is the aim and scope of this particular journal? That is what is very important. Already abstracting and indexing, you can search by scopus, everything, and don't go with what is written in the these journals are very good journals, so no problem, you can do it. The thing is, abstracting and indexing, always go with what is there in scopus, web of science, and UGC sites, rather than what is given in the journal website, because they skip to update it in a regular basis sometimes, and following what is written in the website, because I am talking about myself. A marine policy website is marine policy's own. So whether I lost indexing, whether they will update very fast? No, they will not, right? They may not, unless they are following the proper ethics and all those things. So but marine policy is a Q1 journal. It is one of the best journal in marine science, interdisciplinary in nature. So abstracting and indexing, you follow other indexing site only, not the journal website. What you have to look into is aim and scope. What is the aim and scope of this journal? Okay, that is very important for you to understand what kind of papers they will publish. Okay, technically it is as it is a policy, it is principally a social science discipline related. At the same time, it is also getting into the other marine science, human ecology, all those things also, science part also they are covering. Okay, so you have to read this part and just assess whether my journal fit to this particular journal scope. That is first part. Then they are very clearly telling we are not a technical journal, and we will recommend that only technical papers are transferred to other more relevant journals. That means if your journal doesn't have a policy part, okay, in the you do technical also, but you have a this is how you are going to, based on this technical analysis or your scientific discovery, this is the policy suggestions I want to make. If your results don't have those kind of aspects, they are not going to publish it. So don't waste your time by submitting your paper in this particular journal. So these are the decisions you can make by getting into the aim and scope of the journal. Another part is they are very particular that a journal, a abstract, a paper which is coming without a covering letter, they are not going to consider. Okay, so this is right. Submissions to marine policy must include cover letter. Okay, and what should be there, that also they have clearly mentioned here. If you have a preliminary result based on this your work, like a doctoral thesis or a master's thesis, institutional report, like you did a project and then an institutional report is available, and based on which your paper is, then you have to mention those things in your covering letter. Okay, and if sometimes because this is a more a policy part, if sometimes for example, if the study is about the HIV transmission among a particular community, the interviews done they don't want to share their identity. So if such ethical issues are there, that also should be specifically mentioned in covering letter. I just give an example. So it can be any like ethical issues is there, then it should be mentioned in the covering letter. Your abstract, it should be approximately 250 words. And they are given in general what is your expectation about the abstract, uh, these things. So these are the aim and scope is the must read before you submit your paper to any journal, to understand whether your journal, whether your paper fit to that particular journal. Okay, so that is the first part. Next is what you will do is, you before you publish, next one is aim and scope. Editorial board is interesting to check, because then you can check whether you know anybody there. Sometimes network works, so it's a fact, it's fact is fact, so you can check that. Next is guidelines for authors. So this is what you have to 100% go through before submitting a paper to the journal. Okay, so I have downloaded the guidelines because I just want to uh, I don't want any internet glitches. So this is the guidelines. I just downloaded this, and this is it. Okay, guidelines for others. This is the one. Uh, uh, 1 second, I am getting a call. I'm just message that I'm in session. Okay, so if you are, sorry, you are, looking into these guidelines, what you have to, this is general description, uh, what they are following is in practice. So they are Web of Science, they're following the, this is their main citation report they are considering as the journal one. Then editorial board is given. These are not important for you unless it is you are highly networked. So initially they don't have any particular, you can write in your own way. At an acceptance time, they will ask you to revise, edit it, okay, according to the publication policy. So now you don't have to worry anything. Simply write your paper. Then it can be what all type of contribution. So you have to look into full length article, 4,000 to 6,000 words. So this is what the expectation is. You cannot go beyond that. Next is, because we are current presentation, we are looking into full length article. That is why I'm discussing this. It is 4,000. So if you are in any other type of, if you are doing a book review, it will be 500 to 1,500. Okay. Now, how the manuscript should be. Okay, so they have given clear indication of in the manuscript, uh, the first one author should be specified, their designation and corresponding authorship should be there. Then full email address and full postal address should be there. Then manuscript, it should include keywords, then all figures, tables. They have given exactly what is required. Further consider spell check, grammar check. This is your reference methods in the reference list are cited in the text, and vice versa. This has to be checked as per the policy. Permissions, copyright material from other sources, that should also be included. Okay, so you have to go through this before you. These are one reason why they will first check all these things are complied, then only it move from the desk to the next reviewer stage. So I will be discussing that in my next session. So these are the things which it is also detailed what it is all about. Okay, so you can down, and it changes from one journal to the other, so you cannot follow one journal other criteria for the other journal. So you need to be very clear about it. Each journal whichever you are targeting, you have to download this part and comply to that. And also they have given article structure. This is very important, and how it need to be numbered. This is again very important. So they want what? Introduction, materials and method, theory and calculation, result, discussion, conclusion. That's it. 5 topics, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry, 6. This is the what your write-up all about. If you are going to write anything extra, it is not required here. So what is required for this particular journal, you should have a clear understanding. Okay, then title, all these things are here, what it should be. So, and it is specific to a particular journal. It can change from one journal to the another journal. So you have to by default do it. Even how you should save your graphs and diagrams in what form, that is also given. So these are the important, and references inside citation in text, as well as reference links, how it should be referenced. If it is a web reference, how should you put data reference, how should you put preprint reference, you can use Mandy or anything. So these are the things, and they have given how you should referencing style also is given. Okay, so you have to follow these. So when you get into the particular journal, two things are very important: aim and scope, and then guidelines for authors. Okay, so this you have to read must before you submitting an article to that particular journal. Clear? So site scores here is based on Web of Science, so that is why they have mentioned it's the site one. Okay, clear about the Scopus part? Any doubts, clarifications? Guys, are you guys with me?
Yes, madam. Fine.
Yes, ma'am.
All clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, now what I'm supposed to do is, where is my, okay. Next is, I want to discuss if it is UGC, okay. UGC, because UGC is our, our higher academics regulators care list. There are a lot of problems in this list, but it is the most acceptable for all the accreditation purpose. So as researcher, you should know about it. So UGC care list has two groups, 1 and 2. Group 2 is Scopus Web of Science. If you're indexed in, your journal is indexed in Scopus Web of Science, then it is coming under the group 2. Group 1 is the UGC care list, okay, which is maintained by Pune's one university. They are the one repository and they are doing it. So in the UGC, two things you have to see this alert part. List of cloned journals. Before you somebody send you some list and say I will publish it in, first thing UGC clone journal, go and check. Okay, if you go to this, you can see print journal. This is the, in the left hand side what you see is the right journal, right, sorry, left hand side what you see is the right journal, and right hand side you can see the cloned of this particular journal. So this is very important for you to check before you go ahead and publish. Okay, I mean, many of us end up doing this, so be very careful before you make a decision. Even for group 2, you will think that it is only for the UGC care, but for Scopus also they have created or cloned. Okay, so you might see there is some it is a Scopus index journal, but it has different. So this also you should be aware how you will check whether the journal is cloned or not. This is how you will get into it. So this is UGC. Also, you can get everything you can go to the website and register. So this is I have registered, and now I have shown how the two groups, what all are they, and also I have given the cloned part. Now how we will look into the journals? Okay, I log in and see, and then I can search. See, these are the Web of Science journal list and Scopus list. D list journal from group 2 also is given. This is where this is you can explore. This is search part. If you know a particular ISSN and you want to I just want to, because whenever there is no journal like that, because somebody sent me this journal is in UGC, so I just want to check out that. So I was just checking this journal. So such a journal is not there in UGC. So also you can search in based on science, social science, art, multidisciplinary, Indian languages, etc. also. So this is with regarding to UGC. Okay, so the right journal link. See, this is also, I found that they have created a cloned website of UGC care also and Scopus also. So, it is very important that you know what is the right link also. Okay, so this is the right one. Next is Web of Science. So Web of Science, this is the, website which you should go. All this website, what you have to do is you go and register. Okay, now you can see already have a manuscript. See, I showed the journal finder, no, like that in Scopus, like that in Web of Science also it is there. So if you want to match the manuscript, you click it, same format, put the keywords, put the abstract, put the title, you will be able to get the list of journals which match to your abstract. Then you can focus on those journals. Okay, then if I want to find out whether a particular journal is there in the website, in the Web of Science, put the ISSN number and then search. Okay, this particular journal is exact match received. This one journal is there. It's from India, Pacific Business Review International. View profile page. You will get every details about that particular journal. Okay, from when it is published, how many issues are there, and which country is publishing it, all this information, site scores, etc., etc., etc. So you will get all this information. So, and also Web of Science coverage is also there. Few options. Okay, site report. These reports are also you can search. So this is how these particular three indexes, main indexes, which come under our higher academics purview, for all our, why we of course to share, we will say ethically that I want to share my knowledge to the stakeholders. That is one important aspect. At the same time, for all your promotions, all your submissions, you need to have journal published in these indexes. That is second part. And third, organization, for their accreditation purpose, they want it to be published in these indexes, index journals. So we need to know all these, how to understand these websites, sorry, indexes, and how we will find out the right journal, understand whether it is cloned one, or whether it is a just predatory in nature. So how we can assess this, that is what we had discussed so far. Now I am moving to, I have just half an hour left, so I'm just jumping into my presentation. Okay, before I move to my presentation on how to write a paper, so technically I finished this part of preparation for writing a paper, and now I am moving to the structure of a research article. Before I move to that, is there any other questions from your end? Any doubts? Yes, no ma'am. Okay, Afisa, Sultana. Okay, all clear? Fine, let's move on. So whenever we start as a researcher to write an article, we have a lot of doubts. What to write, where to write, and how much to write, right? So that is an important confusion. So generally, see, this is, as I have shown in marine policy, they have a structure. This is a very generic structure which can flow for any journal, but based on journal there can be some variation. For example, in marine policy they didn't have this literature review context of the study. That part was not there. In some other journal it will have that or aspect as well. So I have given this particular one considering few journals and their common structure of article. Okay, so generally in a topic, the why rule is it should not go more than 13 words. The topic of a particular article should not, how far you can make it smaller, make it smaller. That is the logic. Okay, at the same time you should be able to know that you should know that whenever we search for a particular article, the search result, the algorithm is set up in such a way that the topic and the keywords is what they are searching. So if your paper has to be cited by more people, you should be able to ensure what is the keywords which are most popular in your domain, that should come in your topic as well. At least one, it should come. Then only your site score you can increase. Okay, so you keep that in mind. Okay, these are all tricks and I will say tips to reach what we want. So topic should not go more than 13 words. It include even the comma. Okay, don't think that it is and it is only comma, it is only colon. That is also counted. Total, it should be 13. Okay, next is other name. Everybody have a doubt. If you are a research scholar in one university and you're working in somewhere else, how will I give credit to both? You can do like this, right? 1 and 2, and 1 you can put one affiliation and to give another affiliation. Both will get credit. Corresponding author address, email address should be given. Abstract followed by keywords. Abstract in general, nowadays it is 150 to 250 in general. Some journals follow 150 strict, some journal follow 150 to 250. Some people say up to 300. Very rare journals, Indian journals say 300 words also, but very rare. But generally, keep your abstract around 200 and then edit it. That is what I follow. Okay. And when you put the keywords, ensure that you don't put a keyword which is there in your title. Why we put keyword? People, it is technically we want people to identify your article. Whatever is there in the topic will automatically pop up. So one mistake we do is whatever there in the topic, you make it a keyword. That is you are losing more chances to be visible. So whenever you give a keywords, try to avoid those words which are there on your title. Okay. That is very important. I used to do that mistake before. Later somebody advised me, why are you doing this? Then only I also I came to know that this is how it is. So anyway, it will pop up based on the topic. So use another keyword which is more prominent to your study and which is relevant in your domain. So you will get more visibility. Then introduction, literature review, method, result, discussion, conclusion, acknowledge. I mean, I will be discussing this part now. Acknowledgement, if you have any funding, you have to acknowledge that your own university is giving you space to do this particular paper, then acknowledge your university, like that. Declaration, if there is any conflict of interest, that is what you have to, you have to declare a declaration that there is no conflict of interest that journalists expect. It is for a legal purpose only. If later they have a problem, they want the declaration to be there. References, follow what is there in the as per the guidelines given by the journal. Okay. Then author short biography is it's a one liner which generally all good journals look for. I mean, what I used to write is Dr. Uzvain Joy is a scientist working in the area of and food security for the past 15 years. That is what I write about me. It's a one liner. So technically you have to write that one liner, who you are. Okay. So that is working currently with Presidency University. That also I just mentioned that. Okay. So technically, when you write a paper, you need to have minimum 2 drafts. You can have, I used to have sometimes version 7 also. I mean, I don't deny it, but minimum 2 drafts are required. Okay, so what is that is the art of writing. Now, before I move to art, I'll discuss the structure a little bit more. So how should we write? Okay, everybody can see my Word document. When I switch the documents, no, there is a gestation period. That is why I'm asking. You can see my Word. Okay. So as discussed, topic 13 words followed by author, affiliation, corresponding. Abstract 15 to this I have discussed already, should not repeat what it is. And what should be written in an abstract? 2 to 3 lines of your research problem, 2 to 3 lines of your objectives, methodology in 2 lines and results in 3 lines. So this is the technical structure of a abstract. Okay, don't copy paste your introduction as abstract. Immediately it will get rejected. I have seen that many times. Sometimes when it comes for reviews, I mean, it don't reach to review. Sometimes many people has written this introduction copy paste to abstract or abstract copy paste to introduction. I don't know which way it is, but immediate rejection 100%. So don't do that. Okay, you have to do this way: 2 to 3 lines of your research problem, 2 to 3 of lines. If your objectives are 2, put 2 lines. If your objectives are 3, put 3 lines. Methodology in 2 lines, it can go up to 3 lines also. Results in 3 lines. Okay, based on your objective. If your objective 1 result, it also depends upon how many objectives you have. Then your introduction generally is 3 para. Okay, 3 paragraph. 1, a broader issue what you are going to study. 2nd is specific issue you are going to study, and 3rd paragraph will state your research gap and objectives. So whenever a paper reach a reviewer or the desk reviewer, generally they just look into your abstract, then your 3rd paragraph, okay, of your paper and conclusion. That is how they review it. They don't have time to review over the entire paper. They don't do it in the first cut review. I'm not telling the scientific or technical review part, the desk review part. They read your abstract, your 3rd paragraph where you state your research gap and objective and conclusion. This is what they read. So you have to be very, very careful while you about these 3 things: abstract, third para where you state your research gap and the conclusion part. Okay. Now, this can go, the introduction can go up to this. I mean, see, the logic I do, this part is technically draft one. Okay. Generally, if you really look into, most of the journals accept papers in the range of 4,000 to 7,000. Some say 4,000 to 6,000, some say. So I have kept it as 5,000. My general drafts are 5,000 words. Then I reduce or increase. So whenever you see a word limit as 4,000 to 6,000, try to make it 5,000 and less. Okay, unless it is unavoidable to increase. So, because the journals have the tendency to accept smaller articles than bigger articles. Because of they have to manage the space easily if it is a smaller article. So always keep this. These are not written anywhere. It is just out of practice or with discussion as with various editorial board members. There is nowhere it is written, but they have the tendency to go for smaller articles than in the range. Okay, so means that they can play around with their space in the journal. Sometimes if it is hard copy is also there. Okay, and each longer space of their website is taken. You have to see it all from the journal standpoint as well. Okay, so try to make it 5,000 or less. If it is 4,000 to 6,000 is worse, unless it is important that you need to increase. Literature review context. Okay, sometimes in case of marine policy they don't have this, means that this part has to be mixed along with the introductory part. That is the meaning of it. Sometimes they say literature review context has to be separately mentioned in the structure, then you go for it. Otherwise, this part has to be covered in the introductory part. Okay, methods 1,000, results 1,000, discussions 1,000 words is what I generally do, and conclusion in 500 words or less. Sometimes the results and discussions are one header. So based on the structure given in your journal, you have to decide whether I will put only results or whether it will be results and discussion. If it is results, the technical parts will go in results and the discussion parts will go separately in discussion. If it is only results that out there, you have to put the technical part and discussion along with it. So you have to mix it. That is the logic of it. Then the acknowledgement, declaration, references, and these things I already discussed this part, so I'm not getting into it. So this numbers of words is not any I'm not telling you all follow the same thing. Based on your journals which you are looking into, you can increase or decrease this. This is what I follow, because I generally write around 5,000 words. That is my 5,000 words, and then increase or decrease based on journal specifications. So this is how I do it. This is the first draft part. Okay, I hope clear. So you have to be very clear. In an article, your focus is, many of us think that it is we are not serious about the conclusion part, or repeat the abstract as introduction itself. But that is why the rejection rate increases. You need to be very careful about these three things: abstract, third paragraph where you state your gap, and conclusion. Okay, conclusion should be an answer to your research gap. So what research gap is a question, and you are finding the answer in the conclusion. So whenever you write a conclusion, don't simply rewrite the results which you have done in your result part. It is already there. You don't need to repeat it. You have to. It is like, if your research gap you have mentioned in your third, what is your conclusion to that research gap? Research gap is always a research question or a hypothesis. So what is your conclusion, or it's your answer to that research gap is what they are looking for. So remember that. Next is art of writing paper. Avoid. So structure is clear. Any doubts, clarifications, guys? Sorry, I'm teacher, so I say guys and all in between, because my students are college students. You guys are researchers, so sorry. Any doubts? Anjali, one is yes, you have raised your hands. Is it because it's a doubt, or is it just that you forgot to? Any doubts? Am I so fast? Or is it all clear?
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Like you have given a standard parameter for a research article. So
Hmm.
what if it's a review article? Whether this parameter is going to change regarding the length of
Yes.
words?
Yes, it will change. As I have mentioned in my first slide, we are not getting involved in the review article because it has a totally different structure. And so you cannot see in review article, you review, there are three kinds of review. Today, literature review can be done in a bibliometric review is there, which is what we follow mainly. But if you want to publish your review in a good, very good journal, you have to either go for meta-analysis, meta review, or a systematic review. Okay, that itself is a topic for discussion for another day. So you can search on this. These are the three kinds of review which you can do. And based on the method you use, bibliometric, systematic, or meta, the structure also will change. And generally reviews are done based on themes. Okay, so it will be theme based, how you will put it across. And review papers are much more lengthier, acceptable for much more lengthier than the normal ones. So now words will also will change. Yes, but I have not discussed the review paper format here.
Yes, ma'am, I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else? Any other doubts or clarification? No. Is it okay? We can move to the art part then. Okay. Any doubts you can ask, because otherwise it will become monotonous, and I will keep telling whatever I know, and somewhere you get lost also. So I just want to be interactive in case if there is any clarifications. Okay. Okay. Now we discussed the structure, draft one. It's an art also when you write a paper, okay, to make it faster. Draft one, avoid procrastination. That is our biggest problem, no? If I have to submit it by after 1 week, today I will start getting into my notes by last week Sunday I would have started off. That is generally what happens. So that is where we all finally we end up not looking into many nitty-gritties of the journal, and end up goofing it up. So avoid procrastination. Don't correct your own writing at the first stage. When you write the draft, no, don't try to correct it, just keep writing. The moment you try to correct it, no, the flow will go off. So one of the biggest mistake is, see, none of us are happy with our writings or one, because we are always trying to see the perfection, moving towards the perfection. Naturally, we have the temptation to, because that is a general problem of a researcher, always go and correct it. So the experienced expert says that don't correct your own writing at the first page or the first draft, so that you can finish your papers faster. Then create an outline. Okay, so what I generally do is, if I look into this, we found this structure, right? What I do is I just copy paste this structure into a word and start putting bullet points. Okay, introduction, where is that? Yeah, see, article structure. What I will do is I just will copy paste into a word. Okay, then I will copy paste into a word, and then I will this is one thing. See, I'll just copy paste this, and then I will start keeping for example, okay, this came like this: theory and calculation, materials and methods. Okay. Introduction. Okay, so I'll write, okay, introduction, 3 paragraph. Okay, first paragraph, so I'll put it like okay, in that they have written like something like, state objective of the work, provide an adequate background, avoid detailed literature survey or a summary of the research here. So they have given clearly what to be there, what not to be there. Go through this, and I will start giving, okay, I want it to be 3 paragraph. So what I will do, para 1, okay, bullet points 1 2 3. I'll write, okay, para 1, I'll write this is the first thing I do. Then para 2, okay, what I will write, bullet points, material. First you create the structure, after copy pasting, then fill it across. So tables and charts, if you have already finished your work, already tables and chart is there. Decide, okay, you first put the tables and chart in whenever you do result and result, put the tables first. You create these bullet points, put the tables and chart there, and then start writing. And what you should write first? First, write the methods. That is the best way out, because methods, there is no change. You already finished your work. You have nothing to change there. Just write what you have done. First, write that. Then the result. Then the discussion, conclusion. Then go back to your introduction. Okay. And then add references. So this is the uh, fastest way of writing papers, because methods no change, your result already you have, then your discussion and you conclude, then you have everything there, no, research, because I have told very clearly what you write in an abstract: 2-3 lines of research problem, objective, methodology, lines, all clear. So once you did the conclusion, your abstract is very easy to write, right? And then go to the introduction, 3 paragraph. Okay, what to write? Okay, this is how you can, this is the art of writing the research articles. Copy paste from the journal the structure and fill it the bullet points. Then you start writing these parts. Okay, first you fill the methodology part, then the result and discussion and conclusion, then go back to the introduction, because it is the introduction part you have to update your literature review. That is the reason. Okay, now draft 2 is critical thinking. There is where you will look into, okay, how many is the number of words I need to manage. Okay, so look into the number of words and start editing. If it is to be reduce, reduce. If it is to be increase, increase. Whether can I explain this result in a fewer words? Can I explain this result in a much more sharper way? Make it a simple language. Don't go for, don't follow Shashi Tharoor while writing a paper. I mean, it's very openly use big words, but we have to understand who will read our paper. Undergrads, researchers like you and me. So, and maybe policymakers. Not so you need to see your audience. Majority of your audience will be this category. Even if a professor is doing a paper, mostly he will find out the result methodology, he frees and ask them to do the analysis and get he check the results, and they ask their subordinate undergrads and to review the paper and fill it. Then he will again go back and just revise it. That's what generally professors do. So even if professors are, generally are 80% of the people who read our papers are undergrads or research scholars. Think about them while you write. Don't get into high funda words and all those things. So it's not necessary. Write concisely and always try to reduce your article by 20, because there will be a lot of sticky words which are not required to be there, but we because we try, our mother tongue influence will come, because our language is not first language. English is not our first language. We tend to keep a lot of sticky words in between, unnecessary words. So when you remove that, it will automatically reduce to 25%. By you can reduce it. Okay, so understand the review process. The first thing is 70% of the rejections happen in the desk level. Why they reject? One, does this the questions they look into are 5. Does this article comply to the objective of the journal? That is the first thing. How will we find it out? I have mentioned by looking into aim and scope of the journal. Okay, so if you have read this aim and scope of the journal, your possibility to be rejected for the first aspect is 0. Okay, and comply to that. So does this article comply to the objective of the journal? Read the aim and scope and see whether your journal fit to that, but whether your paper fit to the journal aim and scope. Then this chance is less. Plagiarism check. Okay, most of the universities have Turnitin. Turnitin is what is mostly used by the I mean the journals to check the plagiarism. So you can use Turnitin or even Grammarly, but I found 2% difference between Grammarly and Turnitin. I don't know what is the logic, some algorithm problem in the way they are looking into it. Grammarly also you can use, but think a +2 - 2 percentage will be there in comparison to Turnitin. It's from my experience. There is no, don't ask me the scientific proof, I don't know. But from whenever I try to do it in Grammarly and then move it to Turnitin, then I found a 2% gap. So if you are using Grammarly to check your plagiarism check, I suggest Turnitin. But if you don't have Turnitin in your university, because it's, of course, it's a very costly one, individually we cannot buy it. So you can go for Grammarly and do it, but remember 2% gap is there. Paper comply to the guidelines of the journal. This again, guidelines are given, read it. Okay, article structure, referencing, these are the things which they will look into before completeness. If the structure is given, all the headers there should be there. Okay, when a paper, one problem what happens is, you write a paper to a particular journal, you follow the article structure from that journal, and that paper got rejected. Then you think, okay, I'll send it to some other journal. You will send without checking the article structure of that journal, you will send. Again, it will get rejected. So you need to revise it based on the article structure of that particular journal you are submitting. That is very important. So just cross check that. Then novelty. This is what is new in this paper. First slide of my presentation, I have said one thing. What is the message you are going to give to this by this paper? That is a novelty part. Don't you think this 70% rejection which is happening is because people don't follow any of these 5 points? Okay, so if you are able to comply to these 5 points, your chances of getting that paper into a review process is very high. Test rejections, you can 100% you can avoid the chances of test rejections if you follow these 5 points. That is my, after that it will go to the review. It has there are mainly three kinds of reviews: single, single blinded, under double blinded, and open review. Most of the journals follow the single blind review. Means that you are the identity of the reviewer is not known to the writer. Okay, and double blind is neither the reviewer nor the writer know about it, and openness, everybody knows each other. So most 80% of the journal are on single blind review, and they will send it to, some journals give for 2 reviewers, some journals go for 3 reviewers. Okay, so this is the next level of review after the desk. On the desk, the editor will decide, okay, whether I will send this review paper for review or not. And your first target is to ensure that the editor send your paper for review, to avoid desk review, which is completely in your hands. So see these 5 points to ensure that your paper is inside for a review. And it is at the review, and definitely 3 things are what important: depth of your literature review. See, remember to review the latest 10 years. Sorry, latest 10 years articles. You don't have to review the entire 30 years, 40 years and all. When you write a paper, they are looking for the latest 10 years. Some journals look for latest 5 years. Okay, highly indexed site scores and all, they look for latest 5 years only, not more than that. But there will be some references which you cannot avoid, like the fathers, I mean, the basically one from where that theory has originated. If you want to say, you have to cite that particular journal. There is no that particular scientist, no other way out. But when you substantiate your review, what they are looking for is the latest 10. Okay, so latest 10 years review in your area. You should be very strength of your methodology. Is it a new methodology? Is it a they are following? Is it what is new in that particular method? which you have adopted, how it is different from the exercise. So the strength of the methodology, referencing who and who in the field is very important. 100% you ensure that whichever journal you are sending, refer 2 or 3 papers from that particular journal. It actually clicks, helps. Okay, so that is very, because the reviewer will be familiar with that particular um, particular paper. So if you have already reviewed that, then he has an idea, okay, this person know what is happening, and I mean, what is the journal's importance, also journal, what kind of papers they are. So referencing who and who, main people who are writing in this area, and also 100% keep 1 or 2 or maximum 3 references from the journal itself. Okay, so this is how you can actually increase your acceptance rate. Okay, the percentages are, it's based on a small survey I have done. It can always change. So that's it. So this is how you can write the structure, the art, and the journals which I have I have to discuss today. So that's all from my end. So have any questions, doubts, clarification, we can take 5 minutes. And